Hi, my name is Nicole Glasgow, and welcome to Online Study for You. Today, our topic will be on things to consider when introducing yourself in an interview. Now, as you know, preparing for that interviews can be so nerve-wracking and you can be filled with anxiety as you are anticipating the upcoming interview in a place where you've never been to, perhaps. And careful preparation and information can be very, very helpful in giving you a successful interview. Okay, the first things that we need to think about when you are going to an interview is number one, research. Research what? Research the company that you're interviewing for. It could be an organization, it could be a school, it could be a business center, whatever it is. Research it. We have online information that's accessible at our fingertips. We have you could have a brochure. You could even request some more information from the company to find out everything you can about the company and also the profile, the job profile that you're applying for. This is very important. It's one of the most important things. And I've noticed that in my life as well, applying these concepts have given me much success. All right. So researching the company, find out as much information as you can about the company and the role in which you're applying for. And once you do that, if any questions arise, it shows that you have interest. You've shown interest in that job. You've shown interest about the profile in which you're applying for and that you know exactly what you want, which will impress the interviewers and it will give you an advantage. The second thing that you need to think about is dressing appropriately. Now, as you know, appearance plays an important role when you meet somebody new. If you go in the streets, like out there, or if somebody walks in through the door of a restaurant, whatever it is, we basically know that even we form an impression about the person we just saw. Okay, first impressions are everything in an interview like this because there's so many other interviewees who are waiting out the door or waiting their turn, and the competition is very high. So you just have to cover your bases. So choosing what to wear in an interview is as important as the preparation, preparing part of it. And it will tell you who you are based on, your dress. Different offices have different work cultures. So some offices may be very, very formal, like what I'm wearing right now is pretty much formal, I think. And some office cultures are not as formal, but it's very safe to at least choose clothing that are considered business formal. Now, different cultures also have different requirements. In India, I do know that the Indian ethnic wear can still be considered business. But if you go to a foreign country, such as the United States or England or, some parts of Europe, it is better to wear something that's business casual, that is quite acceptable, or something that is the traditional business attire that is accepted worldwide. All right. Now, when you choose your dress, it's also important to know that you can be yourself. So don't choose something that you're so darn completely uncomfortable in. Okay, choose clothing that's not too tight. Choose clothing that will not come out of its seams. You have to always watch out to cover yourself. Okay, those things may not be very, very, it can be distracting. Okay, it can be distracting, and you just have to eliminate all kinds of distraction that take the interviewers away from their focus on the right parts of you. And it's not just the clothes, okay? So choose the comfortable clothes, be yourself, keep the focus on you. Don't wear extravagant jewelry, okay? This is not extravagant for the ladies. This is not extravagant jewelry, it's just perfect. Big jewelry or bright, even if you wear bright colors, make sure that they're solid colors, not so many prints. All right, all of these things really make a difference because when there's too much going on in your clothes, it can distract in the wrong way. All right. Say another thing, for example, in today's world, we have there are some people like me. I mean, I don't have piercings, but I have tattoos. All right. If you are somebody who has tattoos, it's better to cover it up. If you have someone who has different piercings on your face, except for the nose ring, it is better to take it out. So when you prepare yourself in dressing appropriately and choosing your outfit, make sure that you choose something that is more traditionally and globally accepted. All right. And again, be comfortable and know that if you really want this job, that you have to do everything possible within your power to make that happen. So feel good about the clothes that you're wearing when you leave your house, okay? And make sure that it does scream out, hey, I am confident, I am well dressed, all right? And I pay attention to detail. Okay, so these are things that you can also do. All right, the next thing that you need to do to prepare yourself to introduce yourself in the company is in an interview is prepare what you're going to say. All right. So first we talked about researching. Okay, this is not just preparing what you're going to say. You're researching the company. You're researching the role. The second thing is dress appropriately. Now the third thing is prepare what you're going to say. All right. In this thing, you just have to look through what kind of interview questions might be thrown at you. And there are lots of things that you can consider and write down yourself. So having a gist of what may be asked you would be very, very wise. All right, it's very advantageous to prepare yourself and what you're going to say. The next thing is be aware of body language. Okay, some people may not really keep this, as something very important, but it is. All right, body language can tell a person how confident you are or how defensive you are. So no folding your hands, because usually folding your hands is kind of considered in nonverbal terms a self-defense kind of position. So keeping your hands down, all right, and having eye contact is very important. It also maybe putting your shoulder back and lifting your face, not looking down, lifting your face a little bit, not too much because it looks like it could be a proud kind of look, but just looking them straight in the eye and having a friendly demeanor. All right, you can practice this at home in front of the mirror, in front of friends or family, just to make sure you're portraying the right look. Okay, practice makes perfect, by the way. All right, so even the body language that you portray goes a long way in an interview. Okay. Now, going back to preparing what you say, remember that you can also write down those notes and take those notes with you so that you don't forget what you're going to say. When you're nervous, it's very, very easy to forget what you're going to say. So it's very important to do that. So technically, basically when you are asked a question, it's easy to lose your train of thought. So like I said, we will reinforce writing down the main points of what you would like to include, maybe even some things that you had not included in the resume. All right. In a resume, you have all your professional and your educational background. So they already have that in their hands, or you could give it to them again if they don't have it. So keep that prepared. But anyway, so be prepared with your notes, be prepared with your ideas, and so that you're not going to be caught off guard. All right, so here we have already talked about researching the company. Second, we talked about dressing appropriately. Third, we talked about preparing what to say. And fourth, we talked about being aware of body language. Now the fifth way is to say best ways to introduce yourself. So now we're going to go to the crux of this whole talk about things that you need to consider when you're introducing yourself in an interview. Now, when the best ways to introduce yourself, we're going to divide into three parts. Number one, before the interview. Number two, during the interview. And number three, after the interview. Okay. Now, when you go in for an interview, you might have made an appointment, but it's likely that you're going to be waiting outside until they are ready to call you in. All right. You could be waiting with a lot of other interviewees, or you could be alone. But whatever it is, it's equally important to be aware of how you're sitting outside before the interview. Okay, it's going to be very easy to take out your phone nowadays and just look through, stuff and your Facebook or whatever, and, while you're passing time. It's one of the most common ways to pass time nowadays when you're waiting for something. But I would like to advise you that this would not be the wisest thing, because you are still being watched. And these small little details do count at the end of the day, because there are other interviewees who are equally as good as you are or better. So these small, attention to details are important. Just sit, put your legs down, maybe touching the ground, or even you can cross your legs and sit and be alert. Okay, be alert. You could even take a book along to read, because reading nowadays is a lost art, and I guarantee you that many people will be impressed that you're reading a book, okay, instead of always looking at your or your phone. Okay, and so that's one part. And when you're coming into the interviewee place, you'll be probably talking to a reception or different people you're meeting. Greeting is also something that's still important. I mean, I myself, when I am interviewing people, the way they talk to me, or my receptionist, or whoever it is, will play a small role, or maybe it depends on what someone considers really important regarding that as an impression of that person. Okay, and so you can just put out your hand and shake their hands if it's appropriate, or you do a little bow. Sometimes that's appropriate. I don't know what's appropriate in your context, but think about what is globally appropriate or appropriate for that company, and do a correct greeting. Say, hi, I'm Nicole Glasgow, and I'm here for the role of graphic design. My appointment is at 9:00. And so they will, write your name in, and those things are really important. Say your name, say the position that you're, applying for. And that those things are really important before the interview. Okay, now going to the middle point, during the interview. During the interview, it is very important to consider, just as I said, as you were preparing what to say, those things are important. You need to realize that they're looking for confidence, they're looking for knowledge, they're looking, they will be waiting for you. You may want to use that time to, take a drink of water before you go into the place, So during the interview, you enter the room confidently, but with, I don't like people coming into the room overconfident either. So you have to have that middle balance. All right, stating your name, shaking their hands, and smiling. Okay, remember when they say their names, let's say the person I'm going to be speaking to is Sanjay. They'll say, hey, come on in. And I'll say, hey, my name is Nicole Glasgow. And then they will say, my name is Sanjay. I say, nice to meet you, Sanjay. Okay, it is good to mention their names. Now, I'm really, really bad with names. So if by chance you're like me and you forget, it's okay to call them sir. It's okay to call them ma'am. Okay, especially in the Indian context, it's not that accepted. I shouldn't use the word accepted. Normally in the West, people are more casual in the way they address one another, even if they're older or more senior. But it's okay. I mean, it's always safe to just say sir and ma'am. Let them be the ones who correct you and say, oh, you can call me this. And try to remember the name, even if you're bad at remembering like I am. Okay. And it is likely the interviewers know the role that you're applying for. So you can be like, you could say something like, it's great to meet you. Talk about this role of events team, or this role of graphic design, or this role of team lead, or whatever it is. And once the introduction has been made, and you can either give them the hard copy of your resume, or they already have it, or you can say, hey, I see that you have your resumes here. I have brought some of my own in case you didn't. Okay, so you can exchange the pleasantries as the conversation will go on. Now, one of the most common interview questions is, tell me about yourself. Okay. So prepare for those most commonly asked questions. Tell me about yourself is one of literally the most common interview questions. So you can already prepare that in advance back at home, right? And write down your little notes that you want to emphasize on. So the highlights of what you want to emphasize on, and include something that the resume does not have. Okay, the resume is you just have to just briefly look at it, and it's about you, your profile. But there are some things beyond that resume which will which will give you, like strengths that give you an advantage in that kind of role. So maybe you could mention some strengths that you have that would be something that will enhance or fit into the role that you're applying for. Okay, so keep in mind that as well. All right. Another thing is, be prepared that, to calm your nerves. All right. Keep your nerves calm. It's very, very, like, especially when you have so many, like maybe 2 or 3 people sitting with you. I mean, I went to an interview once, and there were like 5 of them in the panel, and they really intimidated me. They were dressed so perfect. Their hair was perfect. Their faces looked perfect, like it was etched out of a magazine. And here I was feeling really, really frumpy and insecure. But never let that show in your face. And it would help if you had some additional vocabulary in your preparation notes that you can use to increase the quality of the way you describe your roles, you describe your thoughts, you describe how important this position is for you, and why you think you'd be a good fit in a company. Okay, so language is very important as well. Vocabulary is very important. Okay. Now, after the interview, when the interview is all finished, your nerve is, after the interview, make sure you stand up and shake their hands and say, and mention their name. Hey, it's very nice to meet you, Sanjay. It was very nice to meet you. Shake their hand. I look forward to hearing back from you. Okay, so those are some of the phrases that you can use. Now, it would be a very, very long video if we go into detail in all of these things, but this is just a basic introduction of what you can think about and prepare on when you're introducing yourself in an interview. Let's review really quickly again. Start by researching the company and the role in which you are applying for. Number 2, dress appropriately, and don't allow any distractions. Avoid distractions. And number 3, prepare what you're going to say. All right, preparation is everything. Number 4, be aware of body language. Number 5, best ways to introduce yourself. So there's a before the interview, during the interview, and after the interview. And most of all, best overall advice I can give you is be confident and comfortable. Okay, be confident and comfortable, be prepared, and just be yourself. All right. But if being yourself is not that great, don't, just kidding. But yes, all of these things you can keep in mind as you prepare for your interview. So good luck and take care until the next video. Bye.